started Jeff's Burgers in September of 2013. Been in the burger business for 16 years now. My mom and dad have previously been in the business for 33 years, and my grandmother and grandfather actually started in the burger business in 1949, so we're 4 generations in the burger business. What separates us from our competition is we serve 100% American ground beef. All our produce is cut fresh daily. I'm Jeff. Come see us. Give us an opportunity to earn your business.
Okay, dinner.
Well, you get ready, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
It's good to have you back.
May the kind of court come to order, please. May we all stand. Prayer by Mr. Kaufman, please.
Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day and the blessings you have given us. We ask you, Lord, to be with us as we conduct the meeting, that we'll do it in accordance with our county, state, and most importantly, dear Lord, do it in pleasure to you. We ask you to forgive us of our sins, be with our servicemen and women, protect them, bless their families. Forgive me where I failed you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All of you all, our visitors. Judge, do you have anything?
Oh, I don't have anything big. I will say that on the day of the National Day of Prayer,
Yes.
the moderator talked about the courthouse slogan, the national slogan, and somebody did let you know, Don, somebody did give me a $20 bill as contribution toward it, and I think it'd be best that we can hold it, but that would go directly to somebody that'll spend, rather than going through the process.
How do you want to do it? You want to?
We're holding the $20, but y'all can decide if you want it to.
You think we need to get an account for that, or?
Let me tell you what my suggestion would be tonight. My suggestion would be tonight, wait and see how much more you get. In other words, you could open an account. I would hesitate on opening an account for $20 unless you know there's a lot more money coming in. I don't know of anybody else that's got any waiting for us right now. But you might kind of wait and see. But the treasurer's holding for you.
Yeah, I've got somebody that's kind of in charge of that, and he's been around with different businesses, and they said that they.
What we'd like to do, in my opinion, I'd like to turn that over to the private sector, and that's what I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go select the rock, or would y'all like to select the rock?
Can we get a rock cheaper?
Huh?
We had one.
You know somebody that's got a rock?
Yeah. Do you want me to go get it?
Yeah, we need to take a look at it, and
Well,
we need a special rock committee to.
I bet the judge could look at rock.
You think so?
let me ask you one
I'll
thing.
go with you.
Would you rather, or I can turn you over to somebody that knows how to get there. I'd have to have somebody take me. Do you want a small rock, a big rock, or middle-sized rock? I would not select a rock that would not work.
Yeah.
But you could not be great.
Who was on the committee with you to investigate?
Well, David Smith and Stephanie.
Maybe y'all need to go along with the judge.
If y'all two decide to go, I got somebody.
My schedule's not gonna let me go.
If y'all decide to go, I got somebody that needs to go with you when you go, other than me. The person that had my rock contact to start with. Because in the beginning I had a rock contact.
It's not granite,
There was a piece of granite there.
Yeah, we can't afford it.
There was a piece of granite there, and I don't know whether he meant to give us that or not, but it was about this thick, just about this big right here, the width of the table. I think it ought to be a natural stone, and that's a lot bigger than you can see the engraving a lot better. That's my opinion.
I think one about like it's over at the Whitewater Park would be about now.
I think something like that
Yeah.
is real good. I've been thinking about it a lot. And I don't know if you want, and we need to, the select committee needs to select, in my opinion, where you want to put it on the courthouse lawn. You know, I thought about it, you could point it into the corner, put it out close to the street, instead of putting it flat. Here's your corner, and just angle it toward the corner, and you can see it from both sides, or you may want it more of a flat in perpendicular.
Yeah, I was thinking, since we have the warmer going over here, maybe on this corner over there, kind of.
It'd be a pretty good corner, there's lots of traffic there.
We got the good.
Yeah, and it's,
Gazebo over right there.
It's back here.
Yeah.
You're lost. I don't wanna
Oh,
go
that's
nowhere.
back here, yeah, that's right.
And also, we did, and we could have the backside engraved too. If, the backside, if it's
yeah,
good enough.
what you could do, you could put it on both sides.
Yeah,
I would like to give the donor a little credit. It'll be down the bottom.
yeah, we can do that.
Y'all
And,
could go down Honeybow and check over there for some.
Yeah, there's a monument wanted on Honey Boy. We might carry one of these down there and stand it up edgeways, and it would help give impede the flow of the water. We're not through with Honey Boy yet. We got the, you asked me to do something, I'm
Put
gonna do
the
it.
concrete bridge in, can we put in God we trust in?
Yeah. We can
and
encase
two,
it.
I've got somebody, or we have someone in mind to do some, gardening around it, bushes and flowers.
Do I have?
No, I said I do.
Oh, that's
have
good, that's
someone
good.
that might be interested in doing it. You know,
And
to keep it up.
they'll give us perpetual care in the garden and flowers around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. If you can get somebody to do perpetual care free, that's a good deal.
Oh, that's fenced up. He didn't know that. Yeah, there's some graves up there, about 5.
There's 3 more on up there with Steve.
Yeah.
I'll get the orders.
What are y'all trying to say that I don't know? Tell me.
Did you know there were some graves, a little cemetery that's over that creek?
I didn't
Don't
know
have
it,
a
but
bridge.
where?
That don't have a bridge.
Don't have a bridge. No, I didn't know that, but that's that is a factor. I mean, that's something to think about.
I'd show it to you.
I'd like to see it.
I'll be glad to show you.
There's lots of little cemeteries
There's-
all over the country.
There's, it's fenced up. There ain't no tombstones on where you can read them. See, that used to be a lumber yard down there, they cut timber down.
What happened through the years, there was,
Yeah.
they passed some laws, I think, when I was up there. I think we brought up one in the legislature, but and I don't know whether it's the same, whether they changed it, but there was a lot of desecration of the graves through the years. Just people didn't know this there or didn't pay attention. And a lot of places, there were lumber companies that, you know, would not know they were there, didn't see them, and it's grown up, and they pulled logs across them, skidders ran over them, and stuff like
This has got a fence around
that. Had it?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't you see it?
That's all I got.
Not
Mr.
that one, I
Chairman.
know where the one is at Tisdale Gorge.
Yeah.
Has it got a little name for it?
Ain't no name on
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. That it? That it, Josh?
Well, I do, different subject? Maybe? Can we do
Mr.
a
Chairman.
different? Can we do a different subject?
Present.
A different subject?
Well, yeah, whatever you want
Okay,
to present.
we just open. Okay, I do, if anybody wants to look at it, I have received from Garland County, from Judge Ohm's office, copy of their ordinances as far as collecting fees. So if anybody wants to take a look at that tonight, I've got that here, so.
Okay. All right. Now, we have one elected off, well, we got 2. We got one elected officer over there. We also have guests. Does any guests have anything you want to bring before the court? Any guests? We'd like to welcome you all here anyway.
Well, I have a question. Judge, did you get a letter from the EDC stating that they did want Jerry Dodd to be their representative on the solid
That
waste?
they do? I
Did you
didn't
see
get
the
it.
letter, Rick?
I didn't get it today.
There was not a letter sent, but yes, that is our intent to as the Jerry Dodd representative in the solid waste authority.
Okay, so
Yeah,
We
okay.
just need to get that ordinance.
Okay. Sheriff?
Oh, I got one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Let me yield to the sheriff and then don't let me forget one more little thing I need. Go ahead.
No, Judge, I'm
All
fine.
right, Sean back here called me today about a county website. And, I just wanted to tell you that we're working on a county website, and his concern was that, solid waste would have a website. And I would say that probably solid waste would be included into the county, and we'll see if we can incorporate the, solid waste website into the county website. Does that make sense?
They can link them together.
But that's what I was thinking, in other words, that'll be part of the county website, the solid waste authority. But they'll have other things in there, such as the library, anything we can think of that has to do with county, it'll be in the website. We got a grant, we applied and got a grant for that. And then after 2 years, if you don't wanna continue, don't fund it, it'll be over. But we got it paid for 2 years.
All right.
So do you have someone that's working on it, or do you need?
Yeah, we're working on it, and we take any suggestion, but we've got a lady in Little Rock that was the grant lady, and also might need a little help locally. I wanted it to be independent, between the court and the courthouse officials, rather than, that's who I would like to see develop it for, and then we can bring everything else into as far as the county, what is county entities too.
Judge, I would like to say one thing. And that's this, Facebook, you know, I can't control Facebook. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't even have a computer. I gave my wife, she's got my computer. But if I call and there's a website on there and I close it down, they're opening up another one up in 5 minutes. So all these negative things coming out, I don't have any control of it. I can't control these people. I don't even know who they are. But there's a website on there that's, seems to be bashing everybody, and everybody's blaming me, but I don't even know who's right.
There's a lot of people like me, they don't know basically what you're talking about, don't know how to tune in, and don't have anything to tune in with, so we won't ever know
Well,
anyway.
the fact is, I told my guys, do not even respond to them. We're not gonna get on their level, so.
I don't even know anything about it. Has anybody else seen it?
I think I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I think I've seen
And
it.
it says sheriff.
Oh, no, I hadn't seen that one.
Oh, yeah, it's on
I've
there.
seen that one, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
And it's,
Hmm.
but, you can do anything you want to, and say anything you want to on that thing, and everybody believes it. I mean, if it's written, it's true.
Yeah, I've seen some very negative things that I've just had to keep my mouth shut over because it would have gotten ugly.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say that our YouTube camera tonight are gonna help you to start rectifying, and straightening that up, because you're gonna be on YouTube
Well, I hope so.
with your good statements about the needing to correct people, don't worry about that stuff.
I told my guys, do not respond, because all you do is feed the fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Cox?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if Jerry wants to address any more tonight, but we do have an ordinance presented to the Budget and Finance Committee that we need to take up tonight, that is about, when he brought us the presentation on the recycling trailer, the trailers that would be used for recycling. They brought us the ordinance, they're wanting the money. The Budget and Finance Committee we gotta talk about it, but maybe that we pass this so that the court can vote on it, so the whole court gets that opportunity. And I was talking to Ralph, and said, Ralph, if you agree with it, or if you don't agree with it, can you do pass it so that to allow the whole court? He said, absolutely, there's no problem with that. But personally, I'm not sure I understand all I need to about about this money, but what I do understand is it's my understanding based on the court case and everything and this 5% reserve recycling fund that it's their money, and if they legitimately ask for it for a project, which I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think we have to give it to them. I think that's the law, whether you like it or not. And so, you know, from a Budget and Finance Committee, I'm going to vote to get it out to the court, but I didn't know if Jerry had any.
I'm certainly willing to
I
explain
don't-
anything.
Go ahead. Well, Harold, go ahead.
I understand this 5% set aside money is strictly for, it's not for trailers and so forth, it's for a landfill. Am I right on that, Jim?
Right.
It's strictly, and this is what they're wanting the money out of, is out of the 5% set aside. And I've been told, even when we had court here, that money was set aside for a landfill. Now, this is my only concern with it.
Jerry?
Well, I have the statute in here. The
No.
statute reads something like this. It reads landfills first, then it reads recycling. It also reads, which nobody would do today, you could do for steam generation. You know, if you put in a steam burning plant. And I think it has maybe one or two other examples.
I think in other county projects.
Well, and so anyway, it says all of those, I don't think that one says that. I have to go look, you may be right.
I will put
Judge.
it like this. The court's decision on using, not necessarily the 5%, but using that money to build a jail with, because it did include the county. After these other things have been taken care of, then it came down to that. And that's what
The other ballot that we voted for stated it was for solid waste first, and any excess money could go to other entities within the county. Now, that's what I voted for,
But
and that come out right here in this courtroom.
But Harold, Jerry's right about the 5% and the 5%. Wasn't it 5% for landfill and 5% for recycling?
Yeah, well,
No,
wait,
it wasn't in
I just read the
the
statute, it
recycling.
does say 5% for recycling is put in this reserve fund. And in my humble opinion, we're coming in with the language it says there, with the project that fits within it. It is recycling, also this recycling fits within our overall solid waste plan for the county, which the state ADUQ has approved. And so based on that, at least to me, it's pretty clear that I haven't heard anyone say this is not a recycling project. And it fits within this project. I hope that we can buy these trailers for less than the $350,000, but we sort of have a chicken and egg here to tell you, if you got any money, you can't really put anything out for bid, so you don't know what you're going to get in. And anyway, it's our best estimate, and I would be the first to tell you what I handed out a month ago is truly my best estimate, but it is based on having been in this trucking industry now for close to 20 years and being on the Society of Automotive Engineers Trailer Committee too since '95. Anyone have any other questions?
Mr. Quorum.
Okay. I've been here, Pete has also. We had 2 meetings in this courthouse, and Brandon Bird was the man in charge of solid waste. He asked for what we passed was in sale tax. 5% suppose went to recycling and a landfill. A few years after the 1 cent sale tax passed, we spent money looking for a landfill. They went across the river, went up to, I can't remember the road, but beyond that gravel pit on 84 highway, up that IP road, I guess it is. They found a place up there, but we had a public meeting. All the people lived in that area came up here and it was all against it. Then sometime later, 6 months maybe, we had a place at Gum Springs looked at. It was suitable for a landfill. But the people felt like, I'm talking about solid waste now, the people on solid waste felt like that it was cheaper to haul to a landfill existent than it was to own your own landfill. And it probably was. All right, that was for the 5-cent recycling and solid waste for a landfill. All right, but the ordinance that we passed, y'all need to read it. It says that the money left over out of solid waste, that the county can use it as in the county general fund and everything. The county has never spent any of that money, never got any of that money. And a few years after existence, the audit people said solid waste supposed to make out a budget to us. We made the budget out, and everything, and every month, 1/12 of the money would go to solid waste. The man that was in charge was over the top of the Chamber of Commerce building. I went over one day and talked to him about it. But we have been abused, the Quorum Court has, from day one about the solid waste money and everything. When Mr. Brandenburg met with the Quorum Court in the judge's office, which is Burke's, he was wanting 0.6%, not 1 cent, 0.6. But Fenton Stanley and 2 or 3 more JPs, Jack Sullivan and myself agreed that it's easy to pass 1 cent, it was 0.6. Because so many people don't understand when you start adding percentages like that. So it was passed, and as time goes by, we went to court, we lost the court, the lawsuit. We've been to court the second time, we lost it also. But we have never been entitled to receiving any of the money from solid waste. Now, I admit they've done some things they think helped us and all that, but James is a little smarter than some of them thinks. That Jones Mill property over there, the reason that solid waste owns some of it, so to speak, a 50-year lease, is because Cubine Harris knows the law more than most people in Arkansas does, how to niggle things around. If there's money that belongs to the county, regardless if it's under what title, he was going to get it. Somebody said we're going to sell road graders and dozers and all that kind of stuff. He didn't want to sell that stuff. He wanted that money. He knew it was money there, and that's what he got, was that $400-something thousand in a lawsuit when the deputies had worked overtime, they say. But anyway, I feel like we have been abused in lots of respects, because I went to the 2 meetings we had here in the courthouse. I went to one at Magnet Cole, I went to one at Winrose. We had one at Bismarck. I don't know if any of y'all went to any of those meetings. I don't think so. I don't remember seeing anybody there. Maybe Pete may have come to the courthouse, but don't. But what I'm saying, we have been abused by it. Now, I'm not blaming Jerry. I'm not blaming him. It's things that's happened prior to him being on the solid waste board. But as far as the trailer business, I don't understand lots about it. Because I worked for IP for 8 years, 9 years. We bought shavings that came in on trucks that had live bottoms. Live bottoms tear up. Then you've got to get a crane to pick the thing, slap up off the ground to come out the back doors. So I'm saying it's lots more to it than just what's on paper. And I wonder about, I was a maintenance foreman, and they brought a live trailer in from Dallas, I believe it was from. They used to buy shavings and dust powder from Dallas Cabinet Shop. They took all the way from Dallas, Texas to different. One of those live bottoms, that stuff settles down tight, hard. If you ain't got a good chain system, it'll break. It broke. They pulled it out there and set it. Benton Rector Company come down there and hooked onto the front of that trailer with a crane, picked it up, slip up off the blacktop, concrete, wouldn't fall out the back of the truck. Well, who's gonna pay for things like that takes place in crane operators' business? You ain't talking about $200 or $300 to come down from Benton to do something like that or anywhere else. So I don't know. It's lots. It's expense to do lots of things that you think you're gonna make some money with.
I'd like to say one thing, is, I Can I speak, Mr. Wilson?
Yeah. Okay.
I've inherited a lot of things, but one thing I do know, and I can tell you absolutely sitting here in front of me, there is a solid waste plan that may be more adopted, but ADUQ has approved it. Now, we hear a lot of discussion about changing that plan. Now, I will be the first to tell you, personally, I've never changed a solid waste plan. But what I have changed is air and water permits. And when you talk about changing that plan that ADUQ has approved, it goes way beyond, in my opinion, what the Quorum Court can do. It's a big step. You know, another thing out there is, even beyond that, we have the big federal government and the EPA, which tells you a lot that you have to do with solid waste. And all I'm saying is, it's in that environment that if we're talking about changing some of these solid waste plans that we have, you know, in my opinion, we're talking about 6 months, $50,000 in attorney's fees at a minimum to get that all the way up through the ADUQ people up in Little Rock. And certainly can be done, but is that really our objective, is to spend that kind of money to get the plan changed, to say that, hey, we're not gonna recycle anymore? But you know, I would just give that for your thought process, that that's a lot of what we have here. And I agree with James, you know, that probably they went out and they said this is primarily for a landfill. Well, my experience in cleaning up two up in Minnesota is landfills are bad news. They're only cleanup in the future. And so probably not having one here in the county, quote, in our backyard is in our best interest. But all I'm really saying is that this is an ordinance that requests funds. And not only does it request funds, but it also helps another 50 jobs in this county. And if we're really about building more jobs, because you know, really right now, the Solid Waste Authority, since I found out and all these issues have come up, from what we're getting from the 1%, in 3 or 4 years, it won't cover our employee costs. We got to really start reining in just employee costs. That won't pay to replace any of our compactors, any of our trucks. And however, I'm trying to rein all that in, and I'm pushing for a 5-year budget. And you will see a 5-year budget out of me. But however, things are not looking up great for the Solid Waste Authority in the long haul. However, with this project we have in front of us now is a project to continue with recycling versus doing the tipping, which would, if we had to tip this ourselves and pay for it, we'd spend over $1 million a year in tipping fees. And so I believe in this situation, it makes sense for the county to help with a number of jobs. In fact, we even have an agreement, which I still to this day, I don't know why Mr. Feeney out of Prime Line wants us to haul off this sawdust. He'd just do it himself. But I do know this also from other experience. A lot of people do not want to get in the trucking business. And so in that respect, we actually, in a year, we can pay back this $350,000 and we can use it for recycling. And at that point in time, it'll just add to the county. And at the same time, we will keep tons and tons out of the landfill, which ultimately, you know, when it's all ultimately said and done, I believe it won't be in our lifetimes, but my children or grandchildren's lifetime, somebody will be coming back to this Quorum Court looking for funds to clean up the landfill where we're now sending this stuff to. But this is a way to remove numerous tons out of that landfill. I appreciate your time. Anybody else have any other questions?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Don.
Have you checked with the private sector of hauling it? I mean, a company that already has trailers and trucks to do this with, and instead of the taxpayer doing it?
At this point in time, in a way, the Solid Waste Authority does have what I would call a franchise for trash in the county. Are we wanting to start letting that franchise go?
Well, you say after so many years, we're gonna run out of money.
Never heard of that.
We're gonna run out of money, and then if we keep on spending money for these projects that you have going on, why not let the private sector take over?
Well, I think this project is self-sustaining. I looked at my analysis, and after a year, we'll have the money back for it.
Your analysis tells us how much the trailers cost, but what about the trucking? It doesn't have the expenses of fuel, trucks, tires, insurance, and things like that.
Well, we have to, in my opinion, going back to our solid waste plan that ADUQ has given us, as approved, we have to take away someplace. Do we wanna take it to landfill, or do you wanna take it to landfill and sell it to them? Which do you think is the best decision?
Well, I know what the best decision is, but I'm just talking about a private firm doing either or. I mean, I guess a private firm could do either.
We could certainly, we can start down the slippery slope of allowing other haulers to haul in the county if we want to. So far, we have not done that to the best of my knowledge. I've only been there 2 years, so I don't know.
Well, I was doing a job in Glenwood, and they've got a mill over there, and I saw a truck pulling out of there, and they were carrying sawdust, and this guy picks up their sawdust and takes it to the chicken farms. He sells it, he marks it himself, and it's a private individual. And it seems to me, you know, if we open it up to a private individual, then we're not gonna the taxpayer's not gonna be not spending money for trailers and for fuel to take care of it. A private individual will take care of it and possibly make a profit out of it.
Well,
And creating jobs that way.
The one thing that we need to be careful about that is you need to make sure when the private individual takes care of it, he'll have either a bond or something else, so that he'll take cradle to grave responsibility and really be there 50 years from now to take care of this trash when these landfills gotta be cleaned up. You follow what I'm saying, Don? And you may think I'm crazy, but I cleaned up a 50-year-old landfill that was caused at a ammunition plant in Minnesota, and I realize how they come around and bite you at the rear end.
If you use all of this 5% that's set aside for that landfill, what are you gonna clean them up with? Because are you gonna pay this back into this 5% reserve?
Well, my understanding.
Why
I
can't
guess-
you take the other 95%? If you're gonna pay it back within a year, take that money out of that and then pay it right back.
I guess the question I would ask is, as long as solid waste has been in existence, what has happened, and I would dare say this has only been in there since you're getting $8,000 a month. This is going no more than 50 months. The tax has been out there 20 years. What's happened to the other $1 million to $2 million, I estimate, just off the top of my head, doing quick math in my head, that should be in this fund?
I don't have no idea.
I don't either. I wasn't here.
I don't either. I don't know who spent
Didn't
it.
know what they bought the wood grinders and
Built them $80,000 sheds for recycling.
Already bought 4 or 5 of these walking bed, stainless steel walking beds out there. I happen to know
Yeah,
that.
we were sued 4 years ago for how many thousands of dollars?
Yeah, well, see, you've already out of that 1%, remember, there was about $1.8 million, and they came in here and I know, and they wanted, what, $1.5 million or something like that?
$1.6 million.
Okay, and then some of, what was out of that same percentage, there was some trailers, from those vans that you
There was
carried.
some trailers bought,
5 or
some
6.
walking bed trailers.
Yeah, 5 or 6, and then they
Bought,
wanted to
they
pay.
got some.
They wanted to pay for the
Stainless
house
steel.
building out here, which is.
Because they'd already spent the money and then come and asked us for it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And then when we said no, they sued us.
Yeah.
That's where some of the money went, yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, to be truthful with you,
I'm not
before the last
gonna
couple of
get
years,
out
all I was just a citizen.
I'm not
And as we
gonna-
all know, there wasn't too much in the
They can get
newspaper
it
about
out
solid
there.
waste.
Well, all I know is they came to the court and they ended up appropriating the money to them for
Right.
them. And Jerry, I didn't understand, you said that you was gonna add about 50 jobs?
Well, essentially, we're supporting Prime Line, which now has 46 jobs according to the latest Arkansas Democrat.
Oh, you're talking about by way of Prime Line.
These trailers are gonna be, in a way, they're gonna be dedicated to Prime Line, and we're gonna pick this up and haul it. And for us, it's a fairly easy process to haul and sell this and keep this stuff out of the landfill. And that's why I call it recycling. To me, with my experience, this is one of the best and easiest ways to do it. It makes economic sense,
doesn't y'all's latest articles from corporation disallow y'all from using tax money for any
Says-
manufacturing byproducts?
It says wood grinding, but I would submit to you, in those articles of incorporation, well, actually, the latest ordinance says that, I don't think anybody's went back and amended the articles of incorporation, have you?
Yeah, they've been sent to the Secretary of State.
Well, then also what you need to do is you need to go back and amend the ADUQ plan.
But I think.
I don't mean to be hostile, but that's the reality. That you guys need to go back in, the Quorum Court needs to go back in and amend that plan and get that approved.
I think what the point, even along the lines of what Don was talking about, was that the state, you know, I will concede that the state may say we have to get rid of all solid waste, but I don't remember anywhere in the state law that it says we have to do it for free. That we don't charge them a hauling fee or something, that we have to use taxpayer money rather than funding a sheriff's department. We gotta pick up one company's business, you know, wood products or something, and haul them off. I think the
You mean
ordinances that were passed by all the members of the authority, that's all they said was that we couldn't use tax money. Didn't say you couldn't do it. If those people were willing to pay for it, for a service, just like most everybody else pays for a trash pickup service, for a solid waste pickup
Well,
service.
in a way, this county, in my humble opinion, not that I have anywhere close to the experience that you guys have, in this county, when the ordinance was passed, and if you want to look at it, certainly Representative Gazay went and got it. These businesses pay just like I do. In fact, they pay a greater share for the 1% sales tax on their businesses. And so in that respect, yeah, we're probably collecting it from some of the people in Mexico, because last I know, 30 to 40% of what Flake Board does ends up in Mexico. But what I'm saying is, they pay the sales tax like everybody else. And maybe there is a distinction you can make, that because businesses pay sales tax, they shouldn't get trash pickup like residents. But that's a pretty hard distinction to make. I wouldn't go before a judge in a straight face and say it.
Well, but is solid waste picking up garbage from?
We don't pick up from anybody, but if anybody that brings it to us,
Right.
and when we go out to places and do that, we do charge. And my understanding, I got a document over here, we charge either $100,000 to $150,000 a year when we pick up, say, a Flake Board and bring it to our facility.
So you're charging Prime Line for this?
According
Prime
to
Line's gonna
Chris,
pay
y'all
us for
only
this,
collected
right?
65,000
No, at this point in time-
total last
Oh,
year.
Prime Line's gonna get this haul free?
Well, Prime Line at this point in time,
Oh.
we're going to provide them a trailer, and since this is ready product, we're gonna haul it off.
Okay. And you'll sell it?
And you know, and basically what we're continuing on is that in whatever the big building is out of Jones Mill, it's not a pot line, but Prime Line has just pumped this stuff, or actually augured it over to us. We load it up in the trailers. The only difference with this one is they're gonna put it directly in the trailers. We're gonna haul it directly to the sale point. And for us, it will end up as a labor savings because of the way it's gonna be done.
You'll end up selling that material, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, let me,
Our only expense will be is sometime through the years, and it might happen, is demand lessens. And I guess they really use this as absorbent, both in the landfills and the frackers. And for some reason, it seems like in the late fall that the demand decreases. But then now, we're completely emptied out. And I don't know what we'd do if we got to the point that we couldn't sell it. We'd probably try to store it in some building, probably in that regard, the buildings out at Jones Mill.
we got some we rent you. You already have some of them. We'll rent you some more.
Slow down. We're trying to get rid of that.
Well, let me tell y'all something. There can't be any,
But what about,
there's,
like you just said though, I mean, you spend $350,000 on trailers, what happens 6 months from now, nobody wants to use that for absorbent anymore.
Well, right now in the short haul, they generally have to. In fact, now we've had to swing back the other direction. And it is true that we have sold quite a bit to the frackers, but now that's holding in there steady. So as I've noticed in the 2 years I've been there, I think this is a solid line of business. We have an agreement with Prime Line that they will do it for 2 years. There was some debate. I wanted to go for 5, to be truthful with you. But somebody said, well, maybe you shouldn't bind it for 5. But instead we went for 2. And then by doing the economic analysis, I was convinced, okay, we can get back the $350,000 in less than 2 years. So the county and the taxpayer would be made whole. We would recycle it. And if they find some other way to do it, they want to get their own private carriage business, well, that's their option. But in the short haul, what we've done is we've expanded the business out there. If anything, our sales tax, just like our property tax in this county, is slightly trending down. When we get an extra 50 people out there at Gifford working on this, I think we'll see a slight uptrend in sales tax. It may only be $1,000 or $2,000 a month, but we can get some uptrends like that. That's what we need in this county.
I've heard the city of Malvern mayor make a statement that there's increases every year. Wonder what happens in the county.
All I know is that, it's a funny way of dividing the tax up. You take the total amount and divide it by the population. And so anyway, ours has remained pretty steady at 1.7 million. Now, I admit that the treasurer says that she'll projection will go to 2. So far this year, we've actually went a little bit the other way. We're down probably about, I think it's 30,000. And hopefully that trend doesn't continue. But, you guys may have a better crystal ball than I. You can see where sales tax is going to go up. On the other hand, maybe this year we'll find out how much extra the Brookfest adds into the population. We have a couple of ways we can measure that. I hope we can actually show that.
Jerry, I'm not going to say anything else. Now, hold on. One more thing I want to remind everybody. You are part of we are part of a solid waste district.
Right.
And anything of great major changes, that's a concern of the district, and that is Hot Springs, Garland, and Clark counties. And we're all in this together. And, this site you're talking about, James, that's a site down around Gum Springs or Prescott down in there, or Gurdon. Well, this has been looked at as a district there. But if we ever filled up those landfills where we go now in the contract with Arkansas Waste Management, or whatever it's called now, BFI, they said, we don't have a place for you anymore, then this district would have to go and get them a landfill. And Hot Spring County Solid Waste, or Hot Spring County, would be expected to pay your share of a crank up of a landfill and maintaining a landfill. And I promise you, it will cost more money than we're spending, the solid waste is spending to dump today.
Well, that's the other thing I did want to mention is, in all of this regulation and all these layers that we have, it is like Bill says, and Bill sits on that board. This district controls a lot of what we do too.
That's right.
And other than Bill and the mayor going to sit on that board, we at Solid Waste we're just the puppets. Or another way to say it, we're just the tail and they're the dog, and they wag, and they negotiate all the contracts and so far they've done a good job. I have no criticism. They negotiate all the contracts for what the tipping fees will be at the landfills, and they do control a lot of what we do. And that's
it's either go with the threesome,
yeah,
or go it
by
alone.
yourself. And Saline County went by themselves, or is by themselves.
Yeah, but they had some ready-made natural dumping pits that we don't have.
I agree.
Acme, we've already filled up all that Acme would let us have.
Right.
And it is lots of fun running a landfill.
Said one time, did IP give us some property for a landfill, offered us a free property a few years back. You remember that, John? In the national paper.
We had one down
Yeah.
our way.
Yeah.
We
Don't give it to
down.
them.
International paper company. The public.
All right. Where are we now?
I will say one more thing. I think that the way that Hot Spring County devised their compactor station was a great thing. I think that's they have fulfilled what the people that voted on that tax wanted. 99%.
Okay. Anybody else?
Right. This little book is given out by the state. It's freedom information about having meetings and stuff like that. If Pete and I have a meeting, we got to notify the paper. Pete and I fish together. That's fine. But Pete and I are going to talk about this resolution or ordinance or anything relates to government, we got to let the paper know about it. And It's a good little book. You can get from Attorney General. It's free, of course.
Okay.
And you can get it. I only got one. They had 300 stacked up. The time I got around to them, they done gathered them all up.
Okay.
But,
James, let me say,
Capital, go by and get one.
Sure.
I don't know what the blip was with, about the meeting with solid, somebody complained about solid waste without notifying the press. I don't know anything about that, I wasn't involved in that. But I will compliment the court. For that 2013, you went through about 15, 16, 18 meetings. And not one time did I ever know this court meeting without notifying the press or meeting behind closed doors. And everything they discussed concerning the hospital and the finances of the hospital was talked about with the press there and in the public meetings. And I really commend the Quorum Court for that. But I don't know what happened on this other little thing. I don't know anything about it.
Vote on it.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
That's all I got.
All right, is it any committee need to come before the full court? Well, anybody?
We wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, we just did what we wanted to do with the budget and finance, and
Okay, is
there may be a good likelihood that the budget and finance committee presents this to the whole court, not as an endorsement, but as allowing the whole court to vote
okay,
on this particular bill.
okay. Do we need any more information on that bill amongst the court?
I think you're thoroughly covered by
Okay.
what Jerry knows.
I can certainly give you the current package. We've had a slight, I don't know if I have enough for everybody, but certainly here's the latest package of wage agreement from Prime Line. And certainly we can give that along with the latest budget, or latest numbers from the,
Mr. Pete has one that says on the budget committee.
and along with the latest numbers of the 5% fund,
Okay.
it grows about 8,000, I think, a month.
Okay,
And I tell you what, I'm sorry, but I don't have the agreement, but I do have the left. I guess I have one here. I'll go ahead and give you one, and I'll get everything
Okay.
to the agreement. That's the latest numbers in the 5% fund. I updated the analysis some, and then there's also the agreement.
There's nothing ever been taken out of the 5%.
I believe that the 5% is regularly used. Now that you guys mention it, I think when I first got.
Fred came and got it 2 years ago, you remember?
Yeah, when I just went on the
Yeah,
board,
Yes.
they
Yeah,
bought
Fred.
they bought a wood chipper.
Yeah, it was
They cleaned it
$1.6
up.
million, but
That's
if I'm
what
not
Fred
mistaken,
cleaned
the
up.
1.6 was more, they have to leave 5% of the 5% reserved, isn't it?
Well, or 10%. You gotta leave 10%.
Okay, yeah, in the
I
reserve.
don't think it ever got any out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's,
Like
I
he
think,
said, there should have been over $2 million in it by
Yeah.
now if it hadn't been spent.
It was 1.6
I think it's been
million. It's right when I
regularly
first
hit
took
or something.
office, because it wasn't the second month I was in here, I was suspended to court because we were all being sued. Because I joked to y'all about breaking me in right. So,
Yeah, that's.
All right, James, Kelly, I need y'all something.
are we gonna do this tonight?
Yeah, we got.
We've got
Okay,
some more
wait,
for the,
This next one, or
James, we have one.
next one? Is that next?
It's just a, want a grant.